Welcome to the Grandpa Channel, where stories don't fade, they get recorded. I'm Steve Harris. My grandkids call me Rivers. This podcast is where grandpas and grandchildren pull up a chair, turn on a mic, and let her rip. Grandpa stories are chock full of wisdom, life lessons, and frankly, funny as hell. Your stories are the magic elixir to help your grandkids navigate Mr. Toad's wild ride, aka life. Let's Grandpa. Welcome back to the Grandpa Channel, where grandpas swap stories and get real, grandkids get curious, and let it all hang out. Today's episode is something really special. We've been gathering wisdom from some of the most thoughtful, hilarious, and wise grandpas and grandkids who've sat in the chair next to me, and we're handing nuggets of gold straight to you. We're calling it Steal Our Best Plays. Top 10 ways to connect with your grandkids. These aren't made-up theories, academic treatises, or wishful thinking. They're real strategies from real people. Things our podcast guests have done to actually build stronger, more meaningful relationships with their grandkids. No need to reinvent the wheel. Just steal these amazing plays. Are you game? Apply one. Try them all. And hey, if you want a written copy of all 10, we're on it. We made it easy. Click the link below. Let's get rolling. Play number 1. Our first play is all about creativity and connection. Some of the best grandparent moments come not from store-bought toys or structured activities, but from made-up games with goofy objects and ridiculous names. Here's a story from Molly Diamond about her dad, a grandpa who turned chores into games and made the ordinary unforgettable.
We came home and they had set up in my parents' kitchen. There was like a bar with stools, and they'd set up on the stools a bunch of like plastic army men. And then they would sit on this bench that was on the other side of the kitchen, and they would shoot elastics at the army men and see how many of them they could get down.
Wow.
And that became a fun tradition. Tate was the first grandchild.
Yeah.
And he's like years older than many of the grandchildren.
Yeah.
And so he got a lot of quality time with my dad. And another time, Tate was obsessed with that movie Cars. So Tate would bring his cars over to my parents' house, and my parents also had lots of great toys for the kids. And then they had like this on their stairs. It was sort of this like, not a banister, or like, I guess it was a banister, not a railing, but like right next to the stairs, there was like an opening to the family room. And so it was kind of this flat, like 6-inch, like spot where they could just roll the cars down.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it was wood. And they would roll those cars down. And then when the car wouldn't make it all the way down and it would fall down too early, my dad would say, "Dotto."
Dotto.
Dotto. And that was so fun. And Tate would say, "I want to play Dotto with Grandpa."
Dotto.
Yeah. So just like he was so good at like the little things, at making everything really exciting, even though it was small. These little games that he would make up. They wouldn't play games that were like already a thing. Like they weren't playing like Candyland. They were playing games that my dad had made up with his imagination. And then like we would go, another story about Tate, we would go, you know what, it was actually, this really started when we lived with my parents. So at one point in 2012, we moved into my parents' house. I was pregnant with one of my girls. Joel was getting his master's at the U, and we decided to knock down our house and rebuild. And my parents were so sweet and let us come live with them. We were there for 7 months. We moved in January. And so it was just like a crazy winter with tons of snow. And we got there and the snow just kept falling. And my dad finally just said to Tate, "Bud, we got to take care of this." And so they decided that they would make up some names for each other. It was like Joe and
Mac.
Yeah, something like that. Joe and something. And they had this snow removal business. And my dad would say, "All right, Joe, get on your coat and your gloves. We're heading out." And they would go out, and he was just so good at making a game of things, making everything fun, making everything more joyful. And he just knew how to kind of get down there on their level, which I love. So I just have endless stories. We would play poison pillow with him in the basement. And so they would go down in the family room and he would sit on the couch with all the pillows, all the throw pillows, the fancy pillows that my mom had on the couch. And the kids would go from one bedroom that was on this side of the stairs and run to the other bedroom that was on the other side. And then he would chuck pillows at them. And he would say, poison pillow. And they would try and get past him, And it was just, they loved to go. Because to my parents' house, it was just both of my parents just made it so fun and magical.
Play number two. Play number two is a powerful legacy move. It's about teaching grandkids the kind of values that stick, like showing up for others, even when it's cold or early. Here's Brent Dial sharing how his dad turned snowy mornings into soul-shaping lessons.
And then he taught us the importance of service. I remember as a young boy, he lived up by Highland High School. It snowed in the winter, more then than I think it does now. He would get me out of bed early in the morning, and before we do our own, I'd always say, Dad, let's finish ours first and then go do theirs in case we're too tired. That he was very kind. He'd go out and we'd shovel 2 or 3 neighbors and we'd come back and finish ours. I always felt warm inside after I'd done that. He taught me and he taught my kids the importance of hard work. And whatever you do, like there's a saying, do whatever thou art, do well thy part. He taught us the importance of no matter what you're doing, to work hard, to do a good job at it, to finish the project, to not leave loose ends. That was a good training experience for me and my family. He loved to serve others. I remember one time, I just can't tell you how much I love my dad. We were on a trip, my uncle and my dad and I, just to go fishing up at the Strawberry Reservoir, where a lot of people go fishing. And I remember we left late that night and it was rain. Well, we got on this dirt road to go back into the area where we were going to fish. We rounded a corner, and before we knew it, we were up to the running boards in this 2-wheel drive truck we had in a mud hole, and we were stuck. It's just no use, especially it was so dark. So we went to bed right there in the back of the truck. I got up early in the morning, started jacking up the truck, and we found just some spare pieces of wood planks and put them in the wheels. We were inching our way forward, but we weren't getting anywhere. And I looked out in the distance, and I'll never forget this. I saw a truck coming around the corner, and I was so happy. I looked at that truck, and it was a 4-wheel drive truck. And back 60 years ago, there weren't as many 4-wheel drive trucks as there are now. And especially, it had a winch on the front, and those were unheard of at that time. So on the side of it, it said Current Creek Lodge. And I said, can you help us out for just a minute? We've been stuck here all night. And he said, sure. And so we went back to the truck, and he pulled out in front of us. And then he kept going. He never stopped to help us get out of that. It would have taken him 10 minutes to hook that winch up to my dad's truck and pull us out. But my dad said, hold it, because I was really mad. I couldn't believe it. Because when you're out in the mountains, you always help.
Well, the code of the West.
No, it's code of the West. That's a good way to say it. Yeah. But we worked at it for another couple hours and finally, yellow Ford truck with the winch on, 4-wheel drive, was sitting there. And the guy was out fishing somewhere. But my uncle was so upset, he wanted to go and kick the side of the doors in. And I said, no. And I said, let's just let the air out of all his tires, And then my dad said, son, you'll remember this experience all your life. It'll teach you so much. At the time, I was 15. For a snarl. Oh, yeah. I was really upset. And my uncle was too, because he was quite a bit younger than my dad. But we remembered that situation, and we always, from then on, took the opportunity to go out of our way to help other people that were in difficult situations.
Play number 3. Next up, a quirky tradition with a major heart. Your grandkids won't remember every detail of every visit, but they will remember the goofy, consistent traditions you keep. Wayne Samuelson's story tells us how even a trip to Burger King can can become family legend. Have it your way.
They were incredibly loving and patient. My dad, again, kind of a do-it-yourselfer, after he retired, he built himself a motorhome. Built it, yeah. He wanted to learn how to, he wanted to have a metal frame. And so he bought the metal and cut it in small pieces and practiced, bought a welder and practiced welding until he could do all kind of angles.
Wow.
And then he built this big motorhome. But they use it a little bit as, for camping and stuff. But mostly he'd fire that thing up on Saturday mornings and go around and pick up all these grandkids in town and take them to Burger King.
Really?
And my kids didn't get involved in that because we were living in North Carolina at the time. Yeah. All of my nieces and nephews can talk about going with Grandpa, to Burger King. And I remember when he turned 70, we came back from North Carolina to be part of the birthday celebration, which they celebrated at McDonald's. He had the party. And I remember going with my sister over to make sure everything was set up. And they said, well, now how old is the birthday boy? And my sister said, well, he's 70. She said, no, these parties are for children. And my sister said, this is the biggest kid you're ever going to see. Yeah. And so at the appointed hour, they all showed up. My dad got the crown.
Are there pictures?
They are pictures, isn't it? and they brought the birthday cake out and the kids all gathered around. He loved that. He was,
that is funny.
He was a big kid. And even with my kids, even though they were, not physically there, he made sure that he called them and talked to them, and he shared all their things, all their successes, consoled them for their failures. And so they all knew him. And he just made a point.
Play number 4. This next play is for active grandpas. Want to connect with your grandkids? Lace up. Whether it's hiking, boating, or sledding, movement can be the gateway to meaningful time together. Here's Ken Walters on how being active helped him build lasting connection. My observation, everybody walking around, but especially the guests on this channel, have superpowers. But they also have some kryptonite issues. So we'll maybe ask about that. But what do you think your superpowers are as a grandpa?
That's a tough question. I guess I'd just say I love being with my kids and my grandkids. So I think being present and being able to do things with them. So I guess being active. So they know if they come to Utah in the summer, they're going to be on a boat with us. If they're in the winter, we're going to be up in the snow somewhere. If it's in the fall, we're going to be on a hike. We go out. And so I love being active, and it's something that I love to share that with them, and I love the time to be together doing that, and just being, for me, I guess that's that, knock on wood, I can still be active, and I love doing that with the people I love.
Play number 5. Play number 5 turns your own birthday into the best party of the year for them. It's part celebration, part narcissist trick. Steve Newton tells us how to use your big day to create a day of joy, memories, and legacy for your grandkids.
My oldest grandson, we had a great, he kind of has an entrepreneurial bent. And I got these little popsicle molds when he was 7 or 8 or whatever it was. We started figuring out crazy flavors. We had rattlesnake venom. We had hamster vomit, and then we'd grind up some like fruit, put it in there. That became hamster vomit, chunky style. So we just had this. That was great. I haven't been able to do that and have that kind of attention as I'm now dealing with.
We got more to deal with.
Yeah. But you can organize more bigger activities. I try to, in the end, immortality is, the closer you get to immortality is having your grandchildren show up at your funeral and have fond memories. So that's my goal. So I tell my grandkids that the most important day of the year is my birthday. And then I put on a great big party for me.
For you.
Yeah.
And this has sort of images of narcissism.
Exactly. It's all tongue-in-cheek. It's tongue-in-cheek, but they know it's tongue-in-cheek.
So what do you do at the party?
Various things. And now we almost always have snow cones, and they make their own, they grind their own ice.
Hamster vomit. So.
Right. We have rented and have acquired and rent additional bounce houses. So our yard is packed to the brim with bounce houses, and then I usually try to incorporate Nerf gun kind of biathlon thing, where they have to shoot balloons and they have to run and slide down this, and
Very fun.
and then we usually add pinatas, puppy candy. There's got to be, it has to be. That's the great thing about being a grandparent. They don't have the same responsibilities. I mean, it's just I drive my kids crazy, and but we time them, and we have prizes, and we want them to have something to look forward to. But education is also part. We want to educate them, so I've taught them how to squirt whipping cream into their mouths without contaminating the nostril.
Now that is a great life skill.
Right there. Yeah. My wife actively hits that. And my cream says, absolutely love it. So I go to Costco and I always get the 3-pack. The 3-pack of spray whipping cream, because we have a great time with our grandkids. But those are life skills that important for them to learn. I think the most important thing is just find out ways to have fun. A grandpa that'll play with you builds self-worth like you can't believe. Okay? Grandpa loves me, Grandpa loves me enough that he will play with me. He will interact with me.
Play number 6. This next play is about the power of steady one-on-one time. Brian Golding coached his granddaughter's mountain bike team, but the real magic happened on the drives to practices and competitions. Listen for the quiet wisdom in this one. It's all about presence, not perfection.
All of a sudden, I found myself retired with a lot of time on my hands, and we'd ridden bikes before, and we started talking about it. We decided to join the high school team, and I was a coach, and I would ride the red, I guess. So that's a sport I really love, and we started doing it together. We have races, and which adds stress and stuff. But the most fun thing was driving to and from practices one-on-one, where we just see, hey, what's going on? How you doing? We got through a practice, we go get a shake or something. We talked a lot about, we said the only things you could control every single time, no matter if it's a job or a race or life, is your attitude and your effort. And that's what we concentrated on. Everybody give me your best effort, have a good attitude, winner, trophy, And I've tried to use that with all for their grandkids, because that's the only expectations is control your attitude and effort. If somebody control what they do, if they're better than you, or if they're being obnoxious at school or something, that's on them. But you control what you can control. That's fabulous advice. We had over 200 kids up there on the team. So I was responsible for about 10 to 12 at the time. It was really fun. So it wasn't like I was trying to do things with. So we work on skills and a lot of encouraging the kids. So it's all positive. We weren't yelling at kids or anything. It was all way to go. And then we had kids were cheering for the other kid come up the hill. And so it was just a neat environment to grow. And it was a safe environment for the kids. They had a place to go. And it was almost like, in some ways, I was a little bit of a pseudo grandfather. And there was only like a couple of us that were grandfathers. Most of them were dads or brothers or something. I was kind of to the point of aging out and mountain biking, but I wanted to hang in there. A lot of the kids that we started with 8th grade, her friends and her peers, we always kept a lot of the same group for 5 years. So I got to know them, real good at it. But the core group, we got really close. And you enjoy it. And a lot of times on mountain biking, we'd be riding, take a break. We wouldn't even talk about mountain biking. It's like, hey, how's school going? What's coming up? And we kind of check in. And then we talk about maybe the next skill or the next part of the trail. But wow. So it was fun for me. It was, yeah.
Play number 7. Our 7th play turns sleepovers into spiritual formation. Leanne Mead shares how she and her husband created Gramp Camp, a retreat for the grandkids that mixes s'mores, scriptures, and unforgettable inside jokes. Listen for the genius behind the term HOG, hog.
Garner always wanted to do Gramp Camp. Once the grandkids got old enough, he wanted to start doing Gramp Camp. So we do Gramp Camp.
So describe Gramp Camp.
So we just steal the kids for a day or two, not with parents, and as old as we're getting, try to manage all of them, which is pretty
It's like
pretty
herding
interesting. Yeah,
cats.
yeah, it's herding cats. So we'll have Gramp Camp, and we'll pick a theme,
Uh-huh.
and we'll create activities and
Really?
and you know,
Is it at your
teaching
place?
moments. We've done it at our place. We've
Uh-huh.
also done it up at a family cabin up in Mill Creek,
Mhm.
that where we'll go up there and just, you know, no phones, so they can't get on their cell phones, and
Mhm.
we'll hike, or we'll do s'mores and roast hot dogs and
Mhm.
just have fun, and then try to incorporate some gospel principles
Mhm.
into it
Mhm.
with activities, so that
Yeah.
they can, again, kind of a mnemonics thing where we had
Yeah.
an activity. So like a couple of years ago, we did hogs,
Uh-huh.
and everybody goes,
Hogs?
hogs. Yeah.
Okay.
And hand of God, looking to see the hand of God in your life.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And it
I
was,
really like that.
it was so cool.
Yeah.
And
Don't you think it's a great gift to develop as a person, especially a teenager?
yes, yes.
You know, just
Right.
looking to recognize the
Looking
hand
to
of God.
recognize the hand of God in your life. And how do you see the hand of God?
Uh-huh.
And so it was,
Did you guys share some stories
we
about?
shared stories.
Yeah.
We shared stories. We had them share stories.
Right.
And now every once in a while, I'll get a text from one of the older ones going, Grandma, do you want to hear about my hog today?
Oh,
And it's,
yes.
yes, I want to hear about your hog today.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh,
been kind
yeah,
of,
I love that.
yeah, it was,
Who came up with that idea? Will you give it was it your idea or was it Garner?
well, I would love to take credit for it, but I can't. Garner kept saying, as soon as grandkids are old enough,
Uh-huh.
because, you know, we don't want to take them in diapers, and
No.
you got to have, so
Yeah.
we started about 3 or 4 years ago, 3 or 4.
Really?
I think, yes,
That's
at first.
fantastic.
Yeah, it was really, really a fun thing to do. And Garner was the spear. He was the spearhead on that, and he just really wanted to do it. And we talked together and kind of create what we want to do. And you know, I always come up with the weird, you know, things, and he comes up with the spiritual thing. Like
You're a counterpoint, right?
yeah,
Counterweight.
so I found these really cute stuffed hogs.
Yeah.
And decorated them, put name tags on them all, and, you know, gave them to all the kids.
Actually, that's a great thing.
It was really fun. So yeah, so we end up being a good balance.
We might steal that idea.
Steal it.
I just think that, you know, the ability to see the hand of God in your life means that you're humble. I mean, you could say, well, I could explain that away.
Right.
No, but
That's what my dad would do with science.
what is, yeah.
Yeah, he would explain everything away, that anything that was spiritual that we shared with him, he'd explain it away.
Yeah.
But you're right, to have the gift to recognize where it's coming from
Exactly.
and how he's aware of each one of us individually.
Play number 8. This one's a real heart stopper. When Lee Craig's grandkids graduate from high school, he gives them a book with a handwritten letter full of their strengths and the truths he wants to pass on. It's the kind of moment that sticks for life. Here's how he does it. How do you want your kids or your grandkids and great-grandkids to see you? What would you like them to see?
I want them to know that I knew a few things, that I was absolutely sure of some things. And I guess I'll share it with you now. I wanted to do something for my grandkids. You know, I see all these kids graduate from high school, and I mean, they're giving them money and they're giving them computers and they're giving them whatever, you know, but I wanted to do something different, you know. So I came up with this is just me. I came up with, because I'm not well educated like you and everything else. I have a little bit of, you know, I'm pretty street smart. And I think some of your friends that know me wouldn't know that. But I decided to, when my grandkids graduate from high school, I write a letter to them.
Really?
I write a lengthy letter and I put it inside a book that I happen to love. And I take them out, just them and me, and I tell them what I've done. And I want them to carry that letter with them forever, to know that when they have some hard times or when they're not sure about something, that they can open that letter and know that there was somebody who knew them and who knew what their value was. And it's been interesting. As I've written these letters, none of them have been the same. They're all different,
cool.
you know, except for the 3 or 4 things that I know in my heart to be true. And I've put that in all of them, but it's been
What's
kind
one
of
or
fun.
2 of them you put in there?
Well, my last one, I just had my granddaughter graduated last May from high school, and she's extremely good at athletics. Very good. She became a cheerleader, and she's a great cheerleader. But I always thought she would be a starting point guard on the basketball team, or a golfer, or something that we could really get some scholarship and save her family some. No, anyway, but I highlighted some things about her that were specific to me, that what I had noticed about her ability, how she interacts with her cousins, and how patient she is with younger people, and how they love being around her, and they look up at her.
Probably think she's
They
walking
do.
on water.
They do. Yeah, they do. Especially, I've got one. My youngest grandchild is 9 right now, and she just looks at this. Kaylin is her name, and she looks at her and goes, that's what I want to be. That's kind of what I want to be.
Great thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want my life to go. Is kind of like her. I want to be I want to do this, and I want to do that, what she's done. And so,
Right.
But I could carry that to every one of them so far that have graduated. And
What a wonderful thing.
yeah, it's been one of my greatest, if I can use it, spiritual experiences. And to be honest with you.
Play number 9. Play number 9 is for the sports grandpas, and it's a master class in restraint. Ty Yagi shares how his grandpa built confidence and trust by not correcting him after the games. No advice in the car, just love. Let the game breathe, then talk about it when they're ready.
His knowledge of the game was just incredible. And we talked about it
He didn't hit you over the head with it.
No, never.
And he would talk to your level. That was my experience.
Yeah.
And I knew a little bit about baseball, but not even like anything close to what Junior knew.
Yeah, he knew a lot, but he made it fun. And he never really felt like, he never forced it down my throat, but I'd almost let me come to him. I think probably one of my favorite things about his style was he would always sit front row, right next to the on deck circle. And that just made me feel like $1 million. Like, and my grandpa's watching, like, I'm okay. Well, I don't care who's pitching. Like, and I have confidence, right?
Yeah.
But we would never talk about the game in the moment. He was never a dad or a grandpa that saw the kid doing something wrong. He tried to correct him. He'd let me play the game. He'd let me make mistakes. And then we wouldn't really even talk about it till we got home.
Really?
Right? And we'd eat dinner.
So you didn't get lectured in the car?
No, never.
That was a terrible strikeout.
Oh, yeah. If anything, we just laugh about it, right? But he really let me talk about it. And I always, in the moment, I didn't appreciate that. But now that I have kids and I have friends who have kids, and that's a topic that comes up is like, how do you handle the backseat drive, right, on the way home from a game, right? And I'm grateful. Like, the way he did it was just so...
We nailed it.
He made me love the game. He didn't push me away from the game.
Play number 10. And finally, a play about presence, wisdom, and 4 walls chock full of books. Dan Gibbons created a space where real conversations happen. A literal library where his kids and grandkids know they will be heard. This one's about slowing down and letting the room do some of the work.
I have a library at home similar to your beautiful room here.
It's spacious, isn't it?
Well, it's probably about the same size as this room. But conversation, deep conversation in my library, usually with one or more of my posterity, has become a tradition. I learned that from my dad. My dad had a library at home, and he and I would spend time there. We would play chess. We would talk and have wide-ranging, deep conversations. And so I have carried that on with my kids. In fact, my kids will often mention, "Dad, I miss our talks in your library." And they'll often come home if they have something on their minds that they want to talk about. We'll go up to the library, close the door, where we're surrounded on four walls of books, and talk. My dad learned that from his dad, who had a big library in his home. There's something about the presence of the quiet environment of books and deep conversation, not superficial and not how are you doing, but where we're talking about things we're reading and things that are on our mind and about the past, about the future. That to me has been a big way where I got connection with my father and vicariously through him to my grandfather, and how I gained a deep connection with my children and now my grandchildren. In fact, when our children come to visit and they bring the grandchildren, even the little ones, I'm always up early in the morning reading in my library, and I'll hear little feet on the stairs because my library's upstairs like yours. And here will be my little 3-year-old grandson or 5-year-old granddaughter who will climb up into my arms and sit on the chair with me as you're and while I'm reading. But then I'll put the book down, and then we'll talk. And so deep conversation has been a way in my family through several generations of my heritage where we've gained connection and where influence has flowed has flowed vertically to the generations. I got to mention this. So the library in my home is a room that I built myself after a basement library had flooded and I lost thousands of books. And Julie said, take one of the upstairs bedrooms and build this library. I built it all. I designed it. I built it with my own hands. After it was finished, my father came to visit it. That was the only time before he passed away that he was able to see the library I built. And my dad said, I believe your two grandfathers, both, are very pleased with this room that you've created. Your grandfather Gibbons, because of his love for books, because I had all my books on the shelves. And your grandpa Bay, because of the careful craftsmanship you've put into this room. And so that library to me is an extension of the love and influence of these two very different grandfathers. My carpenter, hardworking, no nonsense Grandpa Bay, and my book-loving, intellectual Grandpa Gibbons. And so anyway, that makes that room especially tender and special in my heart.
That's it for today's episode of the Grandpa Channel. Leave a review, share it with a friend, or better yet, tell your favorite grandpa. We're on a mission to gather 1 million grandpas, storytellers, wisdom keepers, and lovable wild cards. Until next time, keep the mic hot, the memories fresh, and the jokes just slightly inappropriate. I'm out of here.